Good morning, welcome back, thanks for joining me. We are currently on the Isle of Wight, and today we are stepping back in history a little bit to go check out Carisbrook Castle. Now this castle, the location of it, has its history way back to pre-Roman times, and there was evidence of from a ruined wall that there was a Roman building on this site during late Roman times. So the early history of this castle, from the late Roman period onward, first part of information I can find is that Witgar, cousin of King Cynric, King of Wessex, died in 544 and was buried here. In the 7th century, this place was likely occupied by the Jutes, and in the 8th century, it was an Anglo-Saxon stronghold. Now, from about 1000 AD, a wall was built around the hill in order to protect the fort from Viking raids. The actual castle is a motte and bailey construction and was built in 1100 AD. So we're going to go take a look around and step back in time. We are currently standing in the gatehouse of Carisbrook Castle, and this was built in the 13th century, which was a square tower with a room over the entrance. In 1330, drum towers were added to the construction, and in the 1400s, another chamber was added above the first. Now, of course, this had to be one of the most important parts of the castle. It was the weakest point, and obviously had to be heavily defended, heavily fortified, and be extremely strong. So the castle was built by Richard de Redvers and remained in that family for close to or over 200 years until 1377. It was unsuccessfully attacked by the Spanish. In more modern history was that it imprisoned Charles I for 14 months before his execution. His children were also kept here, and his daughter, the princess, unfortunately died here also. There's a lot of extensive history with this castle, and it's absolutely stunning. Alright, we are currently standing in what's called Cary's house. Now, Cary was one of Queen Elizabeth's generals, and he was, I think, governor of the Isle of Wight, or general of the Isle of Wight. Anyway, and because of who he was and what he was, and he wanted to show off his wealth and status, he built this beautiful area. Now, it would have been about 3 stories high, and you can see from each of the fireplaces that we've already got 2 stories there. It's a really good possibility or probability that he used the original walls, a lot of the medieval structure to build his house, but it's really likely that it had a brand new facade on the front of it to make it look pretty. So we're currently in the wheelhouse, and this would have been the well, and I believe it's 200 feet deep, and around it they would have had a donkey on this wheel that would have brought the water up. That would have been a pretty boring life for that poor donkey, I tell you, but it's definitely cool to see this kind of history. And apparently they do actually have demonstrations with the donkeys from Carisbrook Castle in here during non-COVID times. Well, so far, this is one of the best, most complete, and interesting castles I've been to. It just is completely thorough and not just in a ruin, which really gives you a feel for stepping back into history, touching history, and getting a feel of what it actually would have been like to live and work here. So we're checking out the museum, which was founded by the Princess Beatrice, Queen Victoria's daughter, in memory of her husband Henry, who unfortunately died of malaria after the Anglo-Ashanti War. Now what we are standing in is her dining room, Princess Beatrice's dining room. It also would have been the constable's solar in way back several centuries ago. This is also the same place where King Charles had his bedroom. So this is where King Charles would have slept. Wow, this castle really is something else. What I can see behind me is the original Norman keep, which would have been the primary part of the castle when it was first built in Norman times. The rest of it has sort of been built up around it. You definitely would have had a good view of all the comings and goings inside the castle walls through here if you were up on the battlements. Of course, you should be watching out that way, not inside, but good, great view either direction. Well, we've completely circumnavigated the castle on the walls, the battlements, and just about to go into the original keep, which I believe is basically the oldest part of the castle. Alright guys, that about does our adventure for today at Carisbrook Castle, stepping back into history and touching the medieval era. So, hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.